kind of take it one day at a time, one game at a time.
It kind of fits into what we try to do anyway. Is looking at 1-0 at the end of the week and just kind of taking the step that you're on, and that's a good cliche, but that's exactly what we've done for a long time. And we've got a lot of kids that played for us last year that either graduated or decided not to play and things of that nature. So, um, that's in a lot of areas we're going to, be revamping some things and asking some younger kids to really step up and grow up fast. And they're kids that have been successful growing up. So I see that taking some time and doing this for a quarter century, I realize that as much as this generation wants things to happen exactly overnight, we've just got to be patient and just kind of keep working with them because they're the type of group with a good attitude that are going to get better, um, not just daily, but every week. And as long as you stay healthy and stuff, and that contingent sticks together, and you're not having to have people switch positions or anything of that nature to try to make up for someone that went down or whatever. If you can keep that core healthy each week, you're going to get better each week. And then, and these kids, most of these guys are going to be around for the next 2 to 3 years.
And those guys, young guys, have seen Milan football over the years, and they want to be part of it, and now it's their turn.
Exactly, and I think that probably you can say that in a lot of football programs, but I kind of check them once in a while. I'll say, do you remember this player? We did this at one time. We haven't, and you'll see a lot of heads, saying yes. So they remember growing up when they were middle schoolers or when they were, back in fifth and sixth grade, even with some of these guys. So, it's just as I tell our coaches, this is a really fun group of kids, and we want to have high expectations, but we also want to find that fine mix of being realistic in there too, because some of them physically pass the eye test. You look like a varsity player, but I deep down know mentally they're going to be fresh out of middle school in some cases. We'll have some freshmen playing, and that can be mentally straining on them, and they've just got to you've got to be there for them with, to help them through that.
Isn't it more important to have a younger player who wants to be here, wants to be part of the program, instead of an older player who really doesn't want to be here? Isn't that more important?
Oh, it's absolutely. I've told a couple kids that that were older that played. I'm like, if you don't want to play, don't play. Don't make yourself miserable. If it's not up your alley anymore, and it's for whatever reason, then it's best for me for the program is get you're getting the next guy ready, and it's just you want to be playing because you want to play, not because someone wants you to play or whatever. Because it's a pretty demanding sport. I mean, it's you got to want to do it because you want to do it.
Over the years, part of your program has been based on that big offensive line that moves people off the ball. How's that going to be this year?
That's where we're going to be pretty young, to be honest about it. We've got down deep. We've got a couple people that have some varsity playing experience coming back. So other than that, we're going to have to count on some young people. Now, within those young people, there's been some growing up, some kids that have played the line pretty well. So, we've just got to, keep getting them used to, high school football. It's not middle school anymore, and we're going to need some, two, possibly three freshmen step up, and definitely a sophomore, and just say, hey, you got to grow up fast, unfortunately, but you can't nurture yourself down at the junior varsity level. But those kids aren't being forced up there. They are the next best guys that looks like we're going to have at this current time.
At your skill positions on offense, you guys are still going to be young, but you have some guys who played a lot of games last year, and that experience will be helpful.
We've got some receivers. We've got some backs. Jamwell Pagano will return. But outside of that, there'll be some new names, but there's some guys that got some experience in there, and there's a lot of competition at those positions, at all our halfback, wingbacks, and even at fullback. And it's really nice to see kids working hard because they, we can all fit in and do different things. We cross train them to learn all the different positions. So we're just doing our best to try to get them the people in the right spots that you feel like right now, just to get them, in all fairness to their talent, talents and things that they do.
Your son Ryan's a quarterback. He was a quarterback last year. A lot of pressure as a freshman. He grew as the year went along. You just want to see him progress this year. He doesn't have to be come in and stop the band or anything, lead the band. He just needs to play consistent.
I've never really put the weight of the world on, the quarterback position and what we do, because a lot of times if that kid goes down, we just don't have to revamp the offense or anything like that. It's like any other position. It's part of it's a link, but it's part of the chain. It's just not the one holding up everybody either. So, but when you have a good running back, a good fullback, you got a good quarterback, it all works really well when you can have a four-back type offense. And but yeah, last year he was, physically, like I said, like some of our linemen, physically probably looked the part if you just didn't know any better and just showed up and watched a varsity football game. But it was a week-to-week deal. I have done it myself when I was a freshman, so and I've had a couple freshmen through the years that have had to come in there, so I know how those wheels are turning. And you just have to be there, and of course I live with Ryan, of course, so just talking, just going into the things we did this summer, how much the game has slowed down a little bit, and that's going to happen again next year, and then the year after that, and so every year it gets a little easier, because you're just more comfortable to the environment, and you kind of learn what that speed of play is. And that's something I need to lean on him a little bit, and some of the other young guys who played for us last year, with the young guys that we have right now, and say, hey, you can lean on them. It's a good time to talk to them a little bit and how they can gradually get through it. But it's a family deal, and we'll get through it all together literally.
Small school, a lot of guys play offense and defense. They do both sides. But when they do play defense, it keeps them in the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's been times through the years we've been fortunate where they'll all learn two positions, but sometimes where we'll have some one-way kids, and they're really fresh too. So in areas like that, if we can do that, gosh, it makes your team a lot better. If you can just have some if your O-line can just be the O-line and not have to play any defensive line, that makes a huge difference, if that's possible. And but if they're not, they're definitely in the game, because they're in there, pretty much for the duration.
One area that you'd like to see your team, either offensively or defensively, improve on early in these practice sections?
I just think more than anything is just being able to we got to point last year we even had 5 freshmen defensively out there. Some of the offensive line we had last year at times didn't even play on defense, but when we got a few guys banged up last year, we got really young really fast. There was a point in time, week 4, after a couple injuries at the beginning of the football game, I think at Putnam County, we had 5 freshmen out there. I think with age, you can tell players' experience, and just through their play defensively really shows up. Offensively, kids sometimes don't have catch a ball, run the ball. That's okay, but that defensive side of the ball really shows your age, I think, a little bit. And I think we've got some guys who had to play a lot last year, and we just fight your way through it, hit that grind, and then hope the next year everything's. So I think we'll be better defensively for sure. And again, it's like every other, even offensively, your pieces have to stay healthy. You just can't have a different rotation every other week and lose the momentum that you might have been building.
Your special teams have been special over the years. What do they look like this year?
I don't see anything that will have to change that. We've got some younger kids, no names to anyone right now, that will need to step in and help us in the kicking department. But there's some fine kids that can kick the ball there right now. So it's just a matter of keep practicing and see who can come out ahead on that. I think our coverage and things of that nature. Those are things you can don't take a whole lot of time to continually work and strive and be good at. Covering the punts, covering kickoffs, setting up returns and things of that nature. But your point afters and field goal possibilities, and just directional kicking with kickers, if you can keep practicing with them. Eric Marino kicked for us last year, the last 2 years, and prior to that was Raul or whatever. And we've got a couple, 3 kids right now that really want to be that kicker. And so they've just got to keep practicing and keep showing us who really wants to stand out and take that position. We might even have an opportunity where we have a field goal type kid. We've got a kid that might be the kickoff type kid. So I mean, that's if you've got a real consistent field goal type kicker, short range, 2-step, but a kid that might be able to run further, he might be your kickoff guy, and this guy might be your field goal guy. So we just have to wait and see and just keep practicing.
Jamboree here again. Always a good test, and it's always a good chance to hit somebody else.
It's always an opportunity to, when you get all your practices, it's always nice to play someone else, of course.
Same schools here?
Putnam, Princeton, and Salisbury is coming in now that Kirksville came in last year when Knox County dropped out, and then they slid in. I think Kirksville really enjoyed this experience. I'm assuming, to now have their own. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if they're out. So Salisbury had called us and wanted to come in, and that's a good addition.
Pretty good. Let's just do it this way. Pretty good schools coming in for the Jamboree.
Absolutely. It's there's a lot of good teams out there, tradition in all those schools, and I just think everybody will get out and try to get some of their basics in and try to get themselves ready for week 1.